What are some myths about geriatrics? We're going to bust them today. If you haven't watched before, my name is Dr. Nicole Diddick, and I am a geriatrician. So I'm board certified in internal medicine and geriatrics, and I've spent the last 20 years looking after older adults. Here's an assumption about aging that I hear a lot, and I want to set straight. Kids have a responsibility to look after their older parents. Well, you know what? That's not necessarily true. I meet a lot of people who've had very difficult relationships with their parents for a long time. And somehow when the older parent gets a medical issue and has needs, it becomes the responsibility of the adult child to look after those. And I don't always think that that's fair. If your older parent has been a narcissist or a difficult person, then just because they're older doesn't automatically mean that you kind of give them a pass for that and wipe all that away and come to their rescue, sacrificing your own needs in the process. I think a lot of people in the medical field assume that adult children need to kind of jump into the breach when there's an issue with an older adult parent, but I think that's something we shouldn't always assume. For example, I try to avoid, and I know a lot of people try to avoid using the term loved one, because not everybody loves the relative that they're traditionally supposed to love. So I try to use the term family member instead. So if you're one of those people who assumes that, why aren't the kids doing more? Well, there could be good reasons for that. And, that's the time to maybe mind our own beeswax and not make those assumptions and look for other ways to solve the problem. Another assumption is that old people need to sleep more, and it's okay to have a nap or to spend most of your time in a chair or in bed because you're old. I hate that one, and it's not true. In fact, the opposite could be true. So, I've read some studies that people who tend to sleep more, like more than 9 hours, could be at higher risk for some medical conditions as they get older. It's also true that people can get deconditioned by spending a lot of time in bed or in a chair. I see a lot of people who are spending 18 or 20 hours a day kind of lying or sitting down, and then they're having falls and becoming weak when they do get up to move. So, that's a myth that I would just love to kick to the curb. It's good to stay active at every age, and just because a person turns a certain age on the calendar doesn't mean that it's time to slow down and to stop. It's important to keep moving and find different ways of doing it. So you don't have permission to snooze in my books. Sorry. Older adults shouldn't be living on their own. Well, over the age of 65, only 5% of people aren't living at home in their own homes. That number does go up to about 35% of people over the age of 80. But, most people are living their lives in their own place. So kind of thinking that everybody lives in a home or should live in a home, whatever that is, isn't true. I'm really glad there are things like seniors' homes and even long-term care homes for people who need them. And some people do. But not all of those people are older. And usually going to live there is more related to a person's health issues and abilities rather than just their age. So thinking that just because someone is 90, that they should be living somewhere else other than on their own, that's a myth. There are so many myths associated with aging, right? That all old people have incontinence and need to wear a diaper. That old people are slow, that old people can't hear, that old people are boring. There are some changes that are a natural part of aging, and if you watch me here on The Wrinkle, you'll learn more about those. But they're not universal, and some of them aren't related to aging. They could be related to other things. So, I hope that you've kind of enjoyed hearing about some of these myths, and maybe you've learned something. And maybe you can reframe some of your assumptions about older people. If you want to learn more about aging, I would encourage you to go to thewrinkle.ca, where you can see all my videos and maybe learn something else about older adults. Or you can watch the video that YouTube is suggesting right now.